Hi, this video will show you how to use the Pythagorean theorem to either find the measure of a leg of a right triangle or the measure of the hypotenuse of a right triangle. I also have a video out there that is only to help you find the hypotenuse. So if you're struggling with this, maybe go find that video first. It's a good place to start. Pythagorean theorem relates only to right triangles, which means that the triangle has to have one angle of 90 degrees. We'll talk about that in just a minute. The formula that Pythagorean theorem says is this, and you might want to put this in your notes. Leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. And I'll spell it out for now, but I'll probably abbreviate it as we go along. I'm going to explain what this means, so don't like tune me out yet. I promise I'm coming back to talk about this. Some teachers teach it this way, and I'm not a fan. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. There's multiple reasons why I'm not a fan of it, but mostly you're not going to know how to label the sides of a triangle A, B, and C. It doesn't always work. You're kind of guessing. If you keep it in mind that it's leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse, it's easy to put the numbers in because our first step that I'm going to teach here is you have to find the hypotenuse first on the triangle. Okay, let's look at our pictures on the screen below. This first triangle here that we talk about, I know that it's a right triangle because of this symbol. If you see this symbol, that's telling you that that angle is 90 degrees. Sometimes they'll be labeled with a 90, so that makes it real easy. How do we find the hypotenuse? There's only one hypotenuse in a right triangle, and what you do is you find that 90-degree symbol and walk across the triangle, and you'll bump right into the hypotenuse. So in this triangle, the 30 inches is the hypotenuse. That means that this side here, which is labeled X, is a leg, and this side here, which is labeled 24, is also a leg. So you'll have two legs in a right triangle and one hypotenuse. Let's go to this funky one over here. Again, we find the right angle symbol down here. We walk straight across the triangle and we bump into the hypotenuse. You can label it H if you want, I guess. That means that the X side is a leg and the 9-kilometer side is also a leg. All right, now let's look at our bottom picture on this screen. Again, here is our 90 degrees. We walk straight across the triangle from there and we bump into our hypotenuse. That means that 36 is a leg and 27 is a leg. So I did 3 examples there because it's really important to know how to find the hypotenuse. If you can't find the hypotenuse, you're not going to be able to do Pythagorean theorem. All right, let's actually solve a problem now. So our first step in the top triangle is to find the hypotenuse. Let's label up our triangle. And we're going to use the same exact method that we were just doing. Here's the right angle, walking all the way across. Boom, I know that's my hypotenuse. So I'm going to label the other 2 sides L for leg. And then again, my formula is leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. And now we're just going to plug in the numbers because our triangle is labeled. So we're going to take one of the sides that we labeled L. I'm just saying 12. I could have grabbed 9 first. It doesn't matter. Plus my other leg is 9 equals hypotenuse is X. Okay. We have to follow the order of operations when we solve this. So that means that we have to apply the exponents first. So 12 squared means 12 times 12. Double check that on a calculator. If you like, don't let your mind see the 12 and the 2 and say it's 24, because 12 squared is not 24. I'm bringing that plus sign down. Now I need to do 9 squared, and that means 9 times 9, which is 81. We haven't done anything to the right-hand side of the equation yet. And now we're adding 144 plus 81. And again, I encourage you to grab a calculator. That will probably help. We're going to get into some big numbers. When we add those 2 numbers up, we get 225. And the last step is we have this set equal to x squared, so how do we get rid of the squareds? So to undo something that's squared, we square root it. And you need to find that button on a calculator, whichever one you're using. When I type this into the calculator and hit square root, the square root of 225 is actually 15, and the square root of x squared is x. So this hypotenuse is 15. That kind of makes sense when I do a gut check. The hypotenuse has to be the longest side of a right triangle. 15 is my hypotenuse. That is bigger than 9 and 12, so that makes me feel like at least I'm on the right track. If I wanted to really check my answer, what I could do is plug in the 15 here and then make sure it works out, but it's fine. All right, our bottom example, same first step. I would look for the 90-degree angle, walk straight across, Bump into 30, that is my hypotenuse. That means that one of my legs is x and one of my legs is 24. So I'm still going to fill in this a formula or equation at the top. The first thing I need is a leg. I'm going to use 24. So leg squared plus my other leg in this case is x equals, and now I do have a number for the hypotenuse in this one, and that's 30. Same deal, I need to do my exponents first. So 24 squared is 24 times 24, and that is, I believe, 576. Yep. I'm bringing down, I'm copying this part because I can't do anything with it yet. 30 squared means 30 times 30, and that is going to be 900. And now my task is to get the x squared by itself. To get the x squared by itself, I need to get rid of the 576. So I'm going to subtract 576, so that goes to 0 right there. What I do to one side of the equation, I do to another. And then 900 minus 576 is going to give me 324. The only thing I have left on the left-hand side is x squared. And now we're at that step again. How do we undo something that's squared? We square root it. So if we take the square root of 324, we find out that x is 18. They don't always come out to be pretty numbers. These two examples, it did. So that's helpful, but sometimes you're just going to have to round it. So look in the directions. Does it tell you to round it to the nearest whole number or the nearest tenth or what? Let's see. Let's move on to the next slide. This is the last slide, the last two problems. If you're feeling pretty comfortable, I would hit pause, copy down these problems, try them on your own, and then hit play and see if you got them correct. If you still just want to hang in and listen, not a problem there either. All right, the top triangle. We have a right angle in the top here. We go across the triangle and we bump into the hypotenuse. That means that 60 feet is a leg and 25 feet is a leg. So our Pythagorean theorem tells us that leg squared plus the other leg squared has to equal the hypotenuse squared. 60 times 60, that's gonna give us sorry about that, stray marks here, 3,600 plus 25 times 25 is 625. And then we have to add those up, 6 to 5. That's going to be 4,225. See, big numbers, but don't freak out. All right, the calculator is your friend here, and it's totally legit and okay to use them. So now I need to square root. And when I square root 4,225, who knew? Comes out to a nice, happy answer of 65. So x is going to be 65. I think I neglected this in the first two problems. I should be using units at the end with my answer, so that was kind of bad that I didn't do that. All right, and then our final problem, I'm going to tackle it exactly the same. My first step is just to look at the triangle. Here's my 90 degrees. I walk straight across, so that's my hypotenuse. These two are my legs. So again, leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. So 40 times 40, that is 1,600. 50 times 50 is 2,500. I need to get the x squared by itself, so I need to get rid of the 1,600. It's on the wrong side of the equation. To legally bring it across, I subtract it. And then I'm left with x squared equals 2,500 minus 1,600 is 900. And then my final step to get x is I square root it, and x becomes 30. And again, that's this, my 30 centimeters. That's this leg here. So that's 30, and that makes me feel like pretty confident that I did well because my hypotenuse is 50 and it's bigger than 30. My hypotenuse should still be the biggest number, and the answer that we found, that fits the scenario fine. Let's just double check up here in this problem. We found the hypotenuse of 65. That checks out that it's larger than 25 and 60, which it should be because we were finding the measure of the hypotenuse. Okay, I hope this helped. Thank you.